Hey, it's Jack Black here. So I'm going to show you in this video how to do a bottleneck analysis on your ads. So basically, if you're not profitable right now and you obviously want to get profitable, this is the exact process you need to follow to do so. Or this will just be helpful if you haven't run ads yet. Like, you need to know this because most people, when they run ads, they freak out because the first step is losing money. Everyone will lose money first. And odds are you don't have a winning campaign from day one either. So you're going to have to make iterations and follow this process of the bottleneck analysis to get to work anyway. So let me show you just a real life example. We literally did this. I did this with one of my private clients a few days ago. And so let me show you some examples of some of the numbers that he was getting just to show you. So let's do this. So it was about $362 ad spend. And then what we were getting here was about a $72 cost per lead. 0 book calls. All right, this is like basic numbers we can look at right away. So first things first, based on this, this doesn't mean much if you don't know what is good and what's bad, because $72 cost per lead could be decent, depending on your offer, your market, your funnel, etc., and your offer economics. Now, for us and like for his offer and what we've seen historically, we should be able to get this number more towards 30, like even like 20 to 40 bucks is really the range we want to see this in. So this was a bit of a red flag. Other thing here is 0 calls booked. Now this is a relatively low amount of ad spend, but the biggest number we're looking at right away is this. Okay, this is a bit high. All right, this should be lower. So first thing I did is I went in and I'm looking at more of the upfront metrics. I'm trying to see, okay, what's going on here? And so I'm breaking this out. Like next thing I'm looking at here, since I'm identifying, okay, cost per lead is more of the bottleneck to look at here. Because we only got 5 leads here. There's only 5 leads. And so if there's 0 book calls, there's only 5 chances. It's a very small sample size, so I'm not too concerned about that at this point. And so what I looked at here, so the first thing I'm breaking down is looking at the actual like opt-in page. All right, what's the conversion rate here? All right, and for him, his conversion rate was actually quite good. It was something, I don't remember exactly, but it was something like 50 to 60%. All right, so that means 50 to 60% of the people that actually land on the opt-in page opt in. They put in their information, which is quite good. It's solid. All right, that's the range we want it to be in. And so I'm like, okay, cool. So that is good. There's no reason for concern there. Next thing I'm looking at here is going to be the actual ad. Like, what's the cost per click on the ad? All right, cost per click on ad. And then his was something like $1 to $2.50 per click, which again, this is quite good. Like, that is quite cheap. But there's something I noticed here. All right, in between this. So I compared the conversion rate. Like, he's using ClickFunnels for his opt-in page and stuff. And I noticed something very weird. All right, so based on these numbers, like with this cost per click, he roughly got something like 180 clicks on his ad. Okay, that's quite good. Now, the other thing I noticed though is on his actual opt-in page, we saw there was only 16 unique visitors. All right, so there's a huge discrepancy here, 180 clicks versus only 16 visitors. And so boom, I found it. I found this is the problem here. Something here is going on between when someone clicks and them actually like landing on the opt-in page. And so I'm looking at possible options here. All right, and what I basically find for him, and this is going to be, hopefully this isn't the case for you, but if it is, it'll be valuable. Basically, his SSL wasn't set up. All right, SSL is basically what makes your domain secure, and so it's what creates the HTTPS, and that S is important. If you don't have that, basically what happens is all the people who are clicking on the ad, most of them get like a warning on their browser. They say like website or domain not secure, and so that's a red flag. All right, so that's why a lot of people were just clicking off. All right, so we fixed that, and literally within hours of us fixing that, he booked a call. Like, just like that. And so that's one example of a bottleneck analysis. I was looking at, okay, cost per lead. This is more of the problem here. So let's dive deeper into that. And I'm looking at opt-in page, looking at cost per click on the ad, and then boom, I found it. All right, this is really a process you want to follow. Let me give you another example here. So let's say, for example, let's say you're getting a bunch of leads, but they're unqualified. All right, let's run that example. So let's say, just for easy math, 1K ad spend. Let's say $30 cost per lead. And then let's say as well, let's say you are booking calls. Let's say you're doing like, $150 cost per call, which is decent. It's okay. Like, we'd be on better numbers than that. All right. So these metrics by themselves are decent, but if you're getting unqualified leads, like let's say it's 80% unqualified leads, that's a problem. And so what do we do here? All right, so there's two main things I'm looking at when it's unqualified leads. It's going to be number one, it's going to be the messaging in your ads and funnel. All right, so let me explain. So the way that meta ads and really every platform works nowadays, it really uses the AI algorithm, and it literally transcripts what's in your ad and uses AI to determine, okay, who should we put this ad in front of based on the messaging, based on who this ad is speaking to. And so your messaging needs to be dialed in. It has to be hyper targeted towards your exact target market. I know, my wife made this for me years ago. But messaging, literally nowadays, this is more important. Manual targeting really does not matter what you put in for demographics or interests. That doesn't have much pull. The messaging is what matters so much more. And so one thing you want to do in this messaging is you want to actively repel any unqualified lead. It should be speaking to the opposite of them. On your opt-in page, you can literally put, hey, if you're XYZ, this is not for you, in bold, underlined. All right, we want to disqualify people. We want to repel anyone who's unqualified. All right, that's crucial. All right, so that's the first thing I would look at here. If this is good, it's probably not though. This is most of the time, if this is the case, your messaging needs to be fixed. All right, the second thing we can look at here, get this. Second thing we can look at is the pixel. No, I don't know why it's doing this, but anyway, second thing is pixel. All right, and so what's happening here as well, this is extremely common. I've talked to so many people where this is happening. It's basically we're getting unqualified leads, and what happens is you're allowing the pixel to fire on these unqualified leads. So let me explain. So if you don't know what the pixel is, basically just think data. Pixel equals data. It's the data that Meta or whatever ad platform you're using uses to determine who should we put this ad in front of. All right, the pixel data. And so what happens is this pixel is firing on all of these unqualified leads. And so Meta or whatever platform you're using does not know if the leads are good or not. It just sees conversions. It sees pixel fires. And so when it sees that, it's oh, these are the type of people who are converting. Let's put the ad in front of more of those types of people. The problem is these are unqualified leads. And so what happens is just a feedback loop. You're going to get more and more of these unqualified leads because that's who's already converting. And so it comes back to the messaging, and also comes back to we want to put in an application before the pixel fire. The application basically qualifies leads. They have to have the finance, that's the problem, they saw that to the target market, etc. And basically we only allow qualified leads through. Anyone who's unqualified, we reject them, we boot them off the page. We're not even allowed to fire the pixel in the first place. Only people who complete this application, we fire the pixel on them. And so the pixel is only firing on qualified leads. All right, and that creates a positive feedback loop that we want. And so that's how we fix the lead quality problem right there, is this stuff. All right, I'll give you one more example here. Let's do a cost per call problem. So let's say, for example, again, 1K ad spend, and then let's say we have $30 cost per lead, but let's say $400 cost per call. All right, so this is a big discrepancy here. I mean, again, it depends on your offer economics. This could be very profitable. This still would be profitable for us, but we've gotten much better metrics than this. So what do we do here? If we want to get this cost per call down, we've seen it get down to $100 or so. So what do we do? Well, with our funnel, basically what we're looking at is the bottleneck is somewhere from them becoming a lead to them booking a call. All right, this process right here, we're going to look in between that. All right, so what do we look at? I mean, for us, for our funnel, main things we're looking at is once they opt in, they go to our mini VSL page. All right, so that's where we have our mini VSL that basically is hey, here's our value proposition, book a call. All right, that's the gist of it. Obviously it goes deeper than that, but that's what we do there. And so if we're seeing a massive discrepancy here, a massive gap between what we want, we should be converting at least 25% of leads into book calls, ideally more. And so we're not seeing that. And so first thing I would look at here is, okay, mini VSL, we need to relook at this. Or what is going on here? Also my headline there, my hook in the mini VSL, that's the most important part. It's always going to be the headlines and the hooks, by the way. So I'm looking at that. I'm basically looking at, okay, from this, are people actually watching this? Are people consuming it? So I can look at, with Wistia, I can look at the metrics behind watch time and everything. Also, other thing I can look at is from my mini VSL viewers to how many application starts that we have. So that's a really good conversion rate there. It's basically, hey, out of the people who actually start watching this thing, how many are clicking the button to start the application? That's a huge one. That's one of the main ones I would look at if this is the case here. Because that basically tells us, the conversion rate there of watching to actual action. So that's a crucial one I would have in there. So that's the first thing I would look at is that stuff. If that's bad, if that conversion rate from viewing it to clicking the application is bad, then I would want to change the headline, the hook of the main VSL potentially, or the actual mini VSL, value proposition and script there. That's what I'm looking at. So that'd be the first thing. Second thing here, which can be a big culprit, would be the setting process. All right, so with our funnel, we collect name, email, and phone number. And so what's huge for really 2xing or even 3xing the amount of calls you book is a really good setting process. And so by this, I mean dialing and texting your leads. Think about it, phone is the highest open rate and response rate channel communication you can have. Higher than social media, higher than email, higher than anything. It's your phone. Everyone sees their text messages. Everyone sees if someone calls them. Everyone does. And so if that's the case, if we have nearly 100% open rate, 100% C rate, when we send this out, we want to leverage it. And so texting and dialing leads, when we have this process dialed in, you should be booking 2 to 3x more calls with this in place when compared to not having it in place. And so that's a big thing we look at. Is this consistent? Are we doing this right? Are we getting that 2x bump in conversions when we're doing this? If not, there's something seriously wrong with our process. Are we doing speed to lead? Things like that there. But that's what I'm looking at. If we have these two things, these are the two possible variables here that are really the biggest things at play. If we fix that, then that will fix the cost per call. That will get that way down. But that's it. That's really bottleneck analysis. We're looking at, okay, first thing you need to understand is, hey, what is first thing is, what is the standard metrics / what metrics do you need for your offer economics? All right, basically meaning what do you need to achieve so you're well profitable, you're achieving the ROAS that you want. All right, so you need to know that first, because if we're just looking at this blindly, you don't know if $72 cost per lead is good or if it's bad, if it's high, if it's low. You don't know unless you have a standard. All right, so that's the first thing you need to know. Once you have a standard, then you can basically look at, okay, where's the biggest constraint? Where's the biggest bottleneck here? All right, this scenario, okay, cool. It's just unqualified lead. This scenario, okay, it's cost per call. Clearly, this scenario, it's cost per lead. When you have a standard, it becomes easy to recognize this. All right, and then once you recognize the general bottleneck, is it cost per lead? Is it cost per call? Then you can dive deeper. All right, you dive deeper into sub metrics, for example. You dive deeper into the variables that play in between this conversion. And you're basically just diagnosing what's going on. And you're just testing. So once you identify this, you just test, okay, these are the variables at play. Based on these sub-metrics as well, I'm thinking this is the main constraint. Let me test something different right here, this one variable. And then you run it through a sample size. You run ads through it, you run leads through it, and we see what the change is. Is it positive? Did it increase the conversion rate? Or did it do nothing? Or did it decrease? All right, that is the process to get your ads crushing. Right now, year to date, we're getting a 6.75 ROAS on my mini VSL funnel, which is, I like it. I'm putting $1 in and making $6.75 back, which is quite nice. I like that a lot. And so I'm going to keep on, jamming money to that machine. But that is really bottleneck analysis, crucial skill to have when you're running ads, and really any, method of client acquisition. You need to know this stuff. So that is just real life examples of what it looks like. Hope this was helpful. If you do want me to one-on-one work with you and actually install my mini VSL funnel so you can consistently book qualified leads on your sales calendar, this is what I do 24/7, 365. I've gotten really good at it. So click the link below if you're interested, and we'll go over all the details of what that looks like and how that works. So click that link below if you're interested, and I'll see you there.